Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So today, we have to talk about the series drops. So we got announced the other day what cards are moving down. They usually announce this about a week ahead of the patch, so we can probably expect a patch next week on Tuesday, bringing Conquest mode, all that neat stuff. But they announced what cards are dropping in series, and it is really bad. They are dropping Snowguard and Stegron from Series 5 to Series 4, and they're dropping Shauna from Series 4 to Series 3. And that's it. Yeah, wow. This is really, really bad, and it feels like they're basically saying, hey, you don't want us to treat every card as its equal? Fine, we're gonna hold on to the good cards and make you pay more money for them because we know those are the cards you want, and you can have all the shitty ones for free. And that's not really what a lot of people signed up for when they kind of bought into this weird and, in my opinion, pretty bullshit collection system that Snap likes to rave about. And it's always been a flawed system, but now we're seeing the full extent of it when they're deciding, hey, we're going to drop cards when we want to. We want to make more money off of these cards being in Series 5 and Series 4 longer. So yeah, you can, get some of the new cards a little easier, get them in Pool 4, but you're going to have a lot harder time getting some of these other cards already released. And especially some of the other ones that are coming out that aren't dropping in Series 4, because who knows how long it takes for them to drop. So let's take a look here. Basically, this is all about the flexible series drops. They mentioned this a little bit ago with the Darkhawk not dropping, Null not dropping. People were very upset about that, justifiably, in my opinion. Those cards still haven't dropped, and we still have no idea when they're going to drop. But I have a chart here from Kirlos, really good chart, and this shows basically the old release calendar. So we had a set release structure. We knew pretty much exactly how long cards took to rotate down. Took a little while to figure out this information, but we can see the first series drop of cards going all the way from 5 to down to 3 was in April. Obviously, the cards went to Pool 4 first, but moving down from Pool 4 to Pool 3, we had all the first Series 5 cards. And so we finally had an idea, okay, we know how long it takes. And there we can see that Darkhawk and Null were supposed to drop in May, but they didn't. They withheld them. And now we're in June. And in June, we were supposed to be getting Hitmonkey and Jeff moving down to Series 4, as well as the most notable one here being Zabu, as I believe he's the only one not currently in Pool 3. They dropped some of those other ones earlier. This is really bad. The fact that they're also doing this with of Hitmonkey, a season pass card, is just fucking gross. I'm really kind of disgusted by just how much they're kind of embracing this pay to win mentality. I think a lot of people, though they were not happy with the old acquisition system, the one kind of shining grace was that, hey, if I'm patient, I'll eventually just get the cards. Sure, I'm not going to have them the day of release, and maybe they're even changed before I get them, but I will get them eventually. It feels like that is what they sold a lot of people on the game with, and now they're just saying, yeah, we're going to throw that out the window, and we're going to do things however we decide. And if you want more information, you can go fuck yourself, is what it feels like, because they certainly aren't giving it to us. It's just really bad. And it really, I don't know, it's brought into question for me a lot of things about the game. And frankly, I think I'm going to pretty heavily cut back on supporting the game because I don't feel good about supporting a system rooted in greed like this. It's so ridiculous. The card acquisition stuff has been going on for forever now. Every time that they say they're going to make it better, they find a way to make it worse at the same time. And they try and slip it under the rug so you won't notice it, like they did with the change to not being able to buy the Pool 3 cards with tokens anymore, like not announcing the Darkhawk not rotating in advance like all the other announcements so people know what to expect. it just feels very underhanded and dishonest, frankly. That's all there is to it. But now we're seeing the full extent of it with them holding Hitmonkey and Jeff hostage in Series 5 for who knows how long. And I mean, same's probably going to happen to Nebula too, because she's a meta player. They're fine rotating Snowguard and Stegron because those cards aren't popular or wanted or very relevant. But God forbid you want to get a card that is useful in a meta deck, because it's going to cost you. So yeah, this is a really bad direction for the game to go. I've given a lot of feedback about it. I think it's honestly almost the worst decision the game's ever made, only behind Nexus Events. But I don't know if there's going to be a level of backlash where they actually feel like changing it. And we did get a response over on the creator Discord that I know some people have been posting on Twitter, where they basically said, hey, we hear, what you're saying. This is only the first part of a system where we're trying to make things actually better for people getting new cards. This is a necessary first step, and you'll see more soon about how it's actually getting better. I'm sorry, but the Second Dinner as a company has not done right by the actually respecting their community to where I feel like I can kind of trust those words, because every fucking time they talk about improving the acquisition, they always find a way to make it a bit worse while they're trying to make it better. And it's really eroded a lot of consumer confidence in myself, as well as a lot of other players I know in the community. And it's just a really greedy mobile game look. And I mean, it is a mobile game, always has been, always will be, but it feels like they're really kind of turning up the notches on the greed here. And I think it's going to be pretty devastating for the more invested community. Now, I do want to mention, in terms of the actual game itself, I think the gameplay's been pretty good. I've enjoyed the gameplay quite a bit, and I think there are more than enough casual players playing this game to where almost every, dedicated content creator and viewer could quit tomorrow, and they'd probably still have a very healthy player base and probably still make a shit ton of money. Which is, in my opinion, the problem, because they don't really have to cave to any of this feedback. Because they're kind of too big to fail, it feels like, or that's kind of the vibe they're putting off. But I just wanted to talk about this because this has made me feel really bad about the game, and it's not even something that directly impacts myself playing the game, because I have enough tokens for the new cards. This is my job. But it really does impact trying to give people advice on whether to buy a card or not. That's really hard to do now, and it feels like the game is getting more expensive than ever, as a lot of the meta lists are running one or more of these Series 5 cards that we don't know if they're going to drop. I mean, just looking at this list here, Hitmonkey, Jeff, Nebula, Iron Lad, all cards that go into top tier decks that are really not accessible. Kitty Pryde, even though everyone got her for free, that's also a big question mark for when players who missed that window are going to have access to that card, and she's one of the best cards in the game. It's just, this is so blatant. It's so unapologetically, we don't care. It's obvious that we are holding the cards that you want, and either buy them or get over it is kind of the attitude they seem to be taking with it. And it feels fucking awful. I imagine the stuff they were alluding to with saying, hey, this is the first step, we're committed to improving acquisition, yada, yada, yada. I think they're talking about the fact that they're going to be doing those quests. So if you buy a new card, you get a quest to do some things with the new card, and you'll get some tokens. And I think we'll see more about that when we get the patch next week. But unless it's giving you way, way more tokens than I would ever expect them to reasonably give you, that's not a good enough fix for totally screwing over the player base in terms of releasing cards. And it just leaves a really sour taste in my mouth. And it's really sad because the game, in terms of gameplay, has been in a fairly decent place for a while now, I think. But these acquisition issues just keep getting worse and worse. And they've been telling us since Series 5 launched back in November, that, hey, we have plans, we're working on card acquisition. I'm sorry, but I don't have any faith in this company anymore in terms of actually listening to the words they have to say about card acquisition. If you actually want to make card acquisition better, do it rather than fucking talk about it and then try and do some deceitful, underhanded shit where it's not actually better. You just talk about the things that are better and not all the things you're making worse. It's just ridiculous. And I'm really tired of it. As someone who likes reporting on like the news going on in the game, I'm just really tired of trying to showcase like, hey, this is good. We should get excited about this when also it comes with a really bad thing that they try and not make as obvious. And I don't think they're going to change. I really don't. I hope I'm wrong. But it really does raise questions for the future of, is Snap really going to be, here in the long term in terms of, a card game community? Because they're doing just about everything they can to piss off people who care about card games. And unfortunately, unlike in beta, when, the game was mostly card game players in the beta, they have a large enough audience with the game being so popular on mobile and then the Marble IP being so big that they really don't have to care about the card game audience anymore if they don't want to. And that really seems like the direction they're taking. So I just wanted to talk about this. I don't know what the answer is here. The funny thing is that they could have done something very similar to what they're doing right now, only slightly different, and they would have pissed off a lot less people, and they might have actually even made people happy instead. I know, imagine that happening. But all they had to do was rotate Darkhawk and Null when they were supposed to. If they want to change it after that instead of blindsiding people who'd been waiting a long time for the card to rotate down. And then say, hey, we're going to be changing this a little bit going forward. I think the game could have been fine with a bit larger or a bit longer of a pool 4. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But when we're seeing them gatekeep cards, and especially past season pass cards like Hitmonkey in Series 5 for longer, Jeff, Hitmonkey, probably Nebula next, it's really, really bad. I think they could have gotten away with having Pool 4 be a little bit bigger, because then people feel a little bit more confident in buying a card when it goes to Pool 4, or if other cards are releasing in Pool 4. I think that might have been a relatively okay middle ground, but they don't want a middle ground. They want all the money and they want all the tokens, and so this is the route they're going, and it's really toxic for the game. It's not good for the player base. It's not good for the metagame, because they even said in that awful line, hey, if the meta's healthy, we might not even drop cards some month. And how can you ever say you have a healthy meta when most of the player base doesn't have access to key cards to actually experience and develop the meta? It's a joke. It really is a joke, and I hope they actually do make it better, but I'm done putting faith in the words they have to say about it, because they've done a lot of talking and their actions do not line up with their words. And it's sad, because they have a really fantastic game here and they just keep ruining it with these terrible changes to the acquisition system. And I don't know where we really go from here. I mean, we'll see what the update looks like in a week. Maybe they actually do something to make this not total dog shit, but I'm not really, I'm not expecting much. Hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because this is something that's really been bothering me the past 2 days. It's definitely making me question whether Snap makes sense to do in the long term if these are the kinds of decisions that they're comfortable making for their game. But I would like to hear from you. What do you think about all this? I've already heard from a lot of people in the community about this, but I do like hearing what people have to say about it. Generally, I think the common sentiment is the way they're doing this is pretty bullshit, and is actually just crazy how mask off, unapologetic they are about basically just choosing, hey, these cards are good, well, we're going to charge you more for them. It's actually insane, and I can guarantee you any normal card game, normal digital card game tried that, the players would be out in the streets rioting. And that's what should be happening here, but it doesn't seem, it seems people are upset, but not as kind of upset as I'd expect them or hope for them to be, which is probably gonna mean that things don't really change. But I don't know. All we can do is wait and see, but it's just, this is really bugging me recently, so I wanted to talk about it. I don't have all the answers, but they certainly could have done this a lot better, and they certainly could have communicated it a lot better. But their track record for doing that is kind of shitty right now, and that's kind of what I expect going forward, unfortunately. So that's about it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.